is no sin. Let me remember that there is no sin. Let me remember that there is no sin. What is sin? What is sin? What is sin? Sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. Sin is the home of all illusions which stand for things imagined. Sin is the home of all illusions which but stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts which are untrue. A madman's dreams are frightening, and sin appears indeed to terrify. And yet what sin perceives is but a childish game. How long, O Son of God, will you maintain the game of sin? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? How soon will you be ready? Will you be ready to come home? Perhaps today there is no sin. Creation is unchanged. Would you still hold? Would you still hold? Return to heaven back. How long, oh holy Son of God, how long? Let me remember that there is no sin. Let me remember that there is no sin. Let me remember that there is no sin. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here on the banks of Hickory Creek, about a mile from the confluence with Shoal Creek, just out near Neosho, Missouri. And I'm Willie from the Ozarks. I like to think of myself as a forgiveness teacher, because forgiveness is the only thing I want to do. It's the only thing anybody wants to do once you learn what it is. See only the love, see only the good. That's what forgiveness helps us do. Okay, and we are ready for lesson 259 here on Saturday, September the 16th of 2023. Lesson 259 from the original edition in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students is, let me remember that there is no sin. Let me remember that there is no sin. Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. What else could bind us to the obvious? What else could blind us to the obvious and make the strange and the distorted seem more clear? What else but sin engenders our attacks? What else but sin could be the source of guilt, demanding punishment and suffering? And what but this could be the source of fear, obscuring God's creation, giving love the attributes of fear and of attack? The prayer says, Father, I would not be insane today. I would not be afraid of love, nor seek for refuge in its opposite. For love can have no opposite. You are the source of everything that is, and everything that is remains with you and you with it. Therefore, it can't have any sin in it, because God is sinless. Let me remember that there is no sin. That's why nothing real can be threatened. Okay, let me remember there is no sin. And our associated reading for today is, what is sin? Sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. And being mad, it sees illusions where the truth should be and where it really is. Sin gave the body eyes, for what is there the sinless would behold? What need have they of sights or sounds or touch? What would they hear or reach to grasp? What would they sense at all? To sense is not to know, and truth can be but filled with knowledge and with nothing else. The body is the instrument the mind made, and it's striving to deceive itself. Its purpose is to strive. Yet can the goal of striving change, and now the body serves a different aim for striving. What it seeks for now is chosen by the aim the mind has taken as replacement for the goal of self-deception. Truth can be its aim as well as lies. The senses then will seek instead for witnesses to what is true. Sin is the home of all illusions, which but stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts which are untrue. They are the proof that what has no reality is real. Sin proves God's Son is evil, timelessness must have an end, eternal life must die, and God himself has lost the Son he loves, with but corruption to complete himself. His will forever overcome by death, love slain by hate, and peace to be no more. A madman's dreams are frightening, and sin appears indeed to terrify. Yet what sin perceives is but a childish game. The Son of God may play he has become a body, prey to evil and to guilt, with but a little life that ends in death. But all the while his Father shines on him and loves him with an everlasting love, which his pretenses cannot change at all. How long, O Son of God, will you maintain the game of sin? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? How soon will you be ready to come home? Perhaps today there is no sin. Creation is unchanged. Would you still hold return to heaven back? How long, O Holy Son of God? How long? Okay, and our text reading for today is in chapter 27, and we're ready to start section Roman numeral 3, which is the fear of healing. As we go look at that, bring with us our idea and keep it in your mind throughout the day. And you do your longer meditation in the morning of a few minutes, and in the evening before you go to bed for a few minutes, and tell yourself, let me remember that there is no sin. Let me remember there is no sin. And then throughout the day, every hour of the day, do the best you can to bring it to your memory and say, let me remember there is no sin. And also when you do that, try to find something that's going on in that hour that you can smile about, something that you can be happy about, something and everything you can be happy about. Look at everything through the eyes of forgiveness so that you can be thankful for everything that's happening throughout the day. And try to, every hour of the day, bring back the memory of God and stay bathed in his guidance. Give thanks and say, today, let me remember there is no sin. Okay, in our text reading, the fear of healing. And while you're turning there, you'll start in paragraph 13 of chapter 27. Chapter 27 is the body and the dream. And as you're turning there, let me tell you about what on earth is going on today. It's Rosh Hashanah, which is a Jewish holiday. It's the Jewish New Year. There's actually 2 New Years in Judaism, and this is one of the New Years. Feast of Trumpets is another name for Rosh Hashanah. It's 10 days before Yom Kippur, and it's when they made those big long trumpets. That's what I think of them as. And then that real shrill war cry. That's a clarion call, a clarion trumpet. And I think of the clarion. We're going to learn about a clarion in our reading today too, by the way. Anyway, Rosh Hashanah, and I found that on Drexel University. And then out of holidays and observances, there was a long list. I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to read a few of them. If you want to read them all, go to holidaysandobservances.com. Anne Bradstreet Day, and she was a poet, was born in England about 1612, died in Massachusetts in in August the 16th, 1672. And what she was a poet, basically her message was the love of God. Batman Day, International Day of Coastal Cleanup, World Cleanup Day, International Day of the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. And of course we want to clean up and keep the ozone layer clean every day, best we can. International Eat an Apple Day, and we'll talk about the Malus domestica in a minute. International Red Panda Day. They're near extinction, and they're the genus Ailurida, and there's two species, the Fulgen fulgens and the Fulgens refulgens. Locate an Old Friend Day, so find an old friend. National Dance Day, National Day of Prayer and Remembrance of the Hurricane Katrina, which happened on Tuesday, August 23rd, 2005. National Guacamole Day, and guacamole are from avocados, genus Persea. There's about 500 different varieties. I'm not sure how many species, but several. Two species that are common. The Haas species is the Americana species, and then the wild avocado, Persea, is the Caerulea, I think. And they're native to Central and South America. And keep in mind, if you're going to buy avocados, some can withstand some freezing. And you want to pick ones that will fit your zones well. Of course, they even though they were originated in Central and South America, they grow all over in Africa and India, any place where it's warm enough. And but some of them will withstand some frost, and eventually maybe we can get some cultivars that are resistant, can grow them even in my zone. That's my hope, is that can happen at some point, zone 6. But at this point, I don't think that's usually done. You can grow them as a greenhouse plant, though. Some varieties withstand the cold better than others. In India, they're called the butter fruit. I use them for butter myself. Put a little salt on it if you eat salt, and it'll make them taste pretty much like butter. So that's National Guacamole Day, Mexican Independence Day, National Museum Day, National Dog and Owner Day, Trail of Tears Commemoration Day. And you know, that was the forced displacement of over 60,000 Native Americans from the 5 civilized tribes, mainly the Cherokee, between 1831 and 1850 by the U.S. government. And you know, one of the things I thought was really neat about that is that the ones that came through first would plant corn and beans and stuff as they went, and those who came after harvested. So there was some of that going on, because they knew that they all saw themselves as one, and the ones that, even though they knew they weren't going to harvest from that crop, they knew that there would be others coming after them that would. I thought that was really a neat thing. Okay, in edible landscaping, I've got the Malus domestica, the apple. We've read about this before, but I want to read it to you again. It's one that I really like. I've got some ready to plant this fall. Arkansas Black Apple. The Arkansas Black is a permaculture tree with good for you, deep red, winter-keeping apples. Tree very disease resistant, self-fertile. Fruits are picked late in our area and mature their best flavor after a few months storage in the fridge. Arkansas Black Apple is chosen as a wildlife tree since the tree is resistant against diseases, and fruits hang well into the fall. Standard tree spacing 20-foot circles, dwarf spacing 10-foot circles, zones 5 through 8. And also out of edible landscaping, I've got another persimmon, and it's the Wase Fuyu Asian persimmon, also known as Matsumoto, and that's the Diospirus khaki. And it says the Wase Fuyu, or Matsumoto, is an early ripening Fuyu type. Ripens before Ichi and Mikawa Jiro. Usually sold in stores as Fuyu, though it is this early ripening selection. Excellent flavor, having high sugars, vigorous and very productive, with a spreading shape, the most important commercial variety in the U.S. Usually starts fruiting early in its second or third year. That's cool. Hangs well on the tree past its mature picking date. Height 10 to 12 foot, space 12-foot circles, self-fertile, zone 6 through 8. A really good permaculture tree. Plant it for if you've got a little bit of acreage, and you'll bring in the deer. They like my apples. Matter of fact, they usually get them before I get them. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about today? I think that's about it. Let's go look at our text reading. Bring along with you the idea. Let me remember, there is no sin. The fear of healing. Paragraph 13 of chapter 27. Is healing frightening? To many, yes. For accusation is a bar to love, and damaged bodies are accusers. They stand firmly in the way of trust and peace, proclaiming that the frail can have no trust, and that the damaged have no grounds for peace. Who has been injured by his brother and could love and trust him still? He has attacked and will attack again. Protect him not, because your damaged body shows that you must be protected from him. To forgive may be an act of charity, but not his due. He may be pitied for his guilt, but not exonerated, and if you forgive him his transgressions, you but add to all the guilt that he has really earned. The unhealed cannot pardon. And of course, that's the way that so many people think. He's trying to set a stage here about the way that we oftentimes think as not through the eyes of Christ. The unhealed cannot pardon, for they are the witnesses that pardon is unfair. They would retain the consequences of the guilt they overlook. Yet no one can forgive a sin which he believes is real. And what has consequences must be real, because what it has done is there to see. Forgiveness is not pity, which but seeks to pardon what it knows to be the truth. Forgiveness is not pity, which but seeks to pardon what it knows to be the truth. Good cannot be returned for evil, for forgiveness does not first establish sin and then forgive it. You don't first see that it's a sin and then forgive it. We've got to look beyond it and see that it wasn't a sin. You haven't been attacked. He's going to explain it better. Who can say and mean, my brother, you have injured me, and yet because I am the better of the two, I pardon you my hurt? His pardon and your hurt cannot exist together. One denies the other and must make it false. 15. To witness sin and yet forgive it is a paradox which reason cannot see. For it maintains what has been done to you deserves no pardon, and by giving it you grant your brother mercy, but retain the proof he is not really innocent. The sick remain accusers. They cannot forgive their brothers and themselves as well. For no one in whom true forgiveness reigns can suffer. He holds not the proof of sin before his brother's eyes, and thus he must have overlooked it and removed it from his own. Let's read that again. For no one in whom true forgiveness reigns can suffer. Boy, there's an idea to take with you. For no one in whom true forgiveness reigns over your life can suffer. He holds not the proof of sin before his brother's eyes, and thus he must have overlooked it and removed it from his own. Forgiveness cannot be for one and not the other. For forgiveness, who forgives is healed, and in his healing lies the proof that he has truly pardoned and retains no trace of condemnation that he still would hold against himself or any living thing. 16. Forgiveness is not real unless it brings a healing to your brother and yourself. You must attest his sins had no effect on you to demonstrate they were not real. Again on that sentence. You must attest his sins had no effect on you, to demonstrate they were not real. How else could you be guiltless? And how could his innocence be justified unless his sins have no effect to warrant guilt? Sins are beyond forgiveness just because they would entail effects which cannot be undone and overlooked entirely. In their undoing lies the proof that they were merely errors. Let yourself be healed that you may be forgiving, offering salvation to your brother and yourself. A broken body shows the mind has not been healed. A miracle of healing proves that separation is without effect. A miracle of healing proves that separation is without effect. What you would prove to him, you will believe. The power of witness comes from your belief, and everything you say or do or think but testifies to what you teach to him. 17. Your body can be means to teach that it has never suffered pain because of him, and in its healing can it offer him mute testimony of his innocence. It is this testimony which can speak with power greater than 1,000 tongues. For here is his forgiveness proved to him. A miracle can offer nothing less to him than it has given unto you. So does your healing show your mind is healed and has forgiven what he did not do. And so is he convinced his innocence was never lost and healed along with you. 18. So you just see your brother as innocent regardless of what he does. That's the point. You look beyond appearances to reality, his innocence, your innocence, which forgiveness restores to you. The eyes of Christ. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do, is how Jesus expressed it on the cross. Thus does the miracle undo all things the world attests can never be undone. And hopelessness and death must disappear before the ancient clarion call of life. Da-da-da-da-da-da! Let me remember that there is no sin. This is a new year. This call has power far beyond the weak and miserable cry of death and guilt. The ancient calling of the Father to his Son, and the Son unto his own, will yet be the last trumpet that the world will ever hear. Brother, there is no death. And this you learn when you but wish to show your brother that you had no hurt of him. He thinks your blood is on his hands, and so he stands condemned. Yet it is given you to show him by your healing that his guilt is but the fabric of a senseless dream. 19. How just are miracles, for they bestow an equal gift of full deliverance from guilt upon your brother and yourself. Your healing saves him pain as well as you, and you are healed because you wished him well. Your healing saves him pain as well as you, and you are healed because why? You wished him well. You wished him well. You didn't live in unforgiveness, you lived in the power of forgiveness. The clarion call of life. The clarion, loud and clear, call of life. Your healing saves him pain as well as you. And you are healed because you wished him well. This is the law the miracle obeys, that healing sees no specialness at all. It does not come from pity, but from love. And love would prove all suffering is but a vain imagining, a foolish wish with no effects. Your health is a result of your desire to see your brother with no blood upon his hands, nor guilt upon his heart, made heavy with the proof of sin. And what you wish is given you to see. And the last paragraph we'll read today will be about the middle of this section. 20. The cost of your serenity is his. This is the price the Holy Spirit and the world interpret differently. The world perceives it as a statement of the fact that your salvation sacrifice is his. The Holy Spirit knows your healing is the witness unto his and cannot be apart from his at all. As long as he consents to suffer, you will be unhealed. You've got to see him as consenting to welcome forgiveness, even if he isn't seeing it yet. welcome it for him. Yet you can show him that his suffering is purposeless and wholly without cause. Show him your healing, and he will consent no more to suffer. For his innocence has been established in your sight and his. And laughter will replace your sighs, because God's Son remembered that he is God's Son. And our lesson once again for today, let me remember that there is no sin. Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. What else could blind us to the obvious and make the strange and the distorted seem more clear? What else but sin engenders our attacks? What else but sin could be the source of guilt, demanding punishment and suffering? And what but this could be the source of fear, obscuring God's creation, giving love the attributes of fear and of attack? Father, I would not be insane today. I would not be afraid of love, nor seek for refuge in its opposite. For love can have no opposite. You are the source of everything that is, and everything that is remains with you, and you with it. Let me remember. Let me remember that there is no sin. 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 What is sin? What is sin? What is sin? Sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. Sin is the home of all illusions, which would stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts which are untrue. A madman's dreams are frightening, and sin appears indeed to terrify. And yet what sin perceives is but a childish game. How long, O Son of God, will you maintain the game of sin? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? How soon will you be ready to come home? Perhaps today there is no sin, creation is unchanged. Would you still hold, return to heaven back? How long, oh holy Son of God, how long? Let me remember that there is no sin. 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 Let me remember that there is no sin.